Hi everyone, how are you? It's Leanne. I just wanted to, this is our lunchtime live. So every Friday, I'm doing a lunchtime live, what I call lunchtime live, and a little training on various topics that I think are actually going to help women move forward in their health journey and their weight loss journey, but in a different perspective. So I teach a different perspective on more of a holistic approach and more of a heart-led, I call it heart-led, not soul-led approach to weight loss, right? And it's not just about weight loss. In fact, it's never about weight loss. That's one of the things that I do teach, is that let's have a look at what is really happening underneath in the background, what's going on for you, and why these things are happening, why you might be stressing or emotionally binge eating, why you might be not having any sleep, why you may be feeling aches and pains and inflammation and swelling, why you're not feeling ready to take care of yourself or more confident, you don't have the confidence in your own ability or in your own self, valuing yourself, all the things that kind of get in the way. So I do like to find out what's stopping you from being fabulous, right? What is stopping you from being fabulous? So the title of today's training, and being a weight loss consultant, wellness coach, personal trainer, it really is a holistic approach. I actually use a lot more intuitive kind of coaching as well. So from basically what I'm being told or what I can see is happening or I'm being told is happening, from there I can guide you to what's your next step. What's the best thing you could do for yourself right now? What are the changes you need to make? And what are those steps that you're going to add into your life that are going to get you there? What do you need to do differently? And how do we need to think differently, more importantly? A lot of the time, in fact, I'd probably say 300% of the time, it is mindset, right? So if you're experiencing something with your health, or you're actually frustrated, unmotivated, not doing the things you would like to do, it's mindset, right? So what can you change, or what can we tweak, what can we swap, and make different for you, or make you feel differently, right? So when you feel better, you do better, right? One of the beliefs that I have around this is that when women are feeling happy with themselves, right, and feeling good in themselves, strong, confident, clear, then they're more likely to take care of themselves. So that's basically my number one principle for how I coach, right? When you feel good about yourself, you are more likely to do the things. You're more likely to prepare lovely meals for yourself. You're more likely to exercise, go for a walk. You're more likely to go and get some rest when you need rest, sleep when you need to sleep. You're more likely to do those things, right? When we're not feeling good about ourselves and we're low on energy, fatigued, stressed out of our brain, nothing good is going to come from that, right? It's very hard to step into a different energy from the energy that you already have going on. So we really do need to shift the energy, shift the thoughts, shift the feelings. There's things that have to happen to allow you to move forward, right? And if you're not ready for change, we kind of look at how can we get that, how can we improve that? How can we give you a higher level of confidence that you can actually change those things, or you can make some changes, right? So it's quite important from I suppose a wellness point of view of coaching, that you are feeling ready and you're feeling confident in your ability to make some changes if you want to, right? So that's quite important. So that's one thing I want to talk about. So number one is the thing that is important about you, right? Is how you're feeling. And I suppose the other underlying principle that I work from is the journey matters, right? I might have to put my phone on charge. Isn't that typical, right? I always think, I just ran from the hairdressers. That's why I'm like late. I'm hopeless, terrible at setting, being stuck with the set time. And I didn't want to make a long training for you. I just wanted to do a quick training, not to keep you too long, right? So one of the other things that I practice from, because I believe, is that the journey matters, right? So if you could take a journey where you want to get healthy, you want to feel amazing, you want to be your best amazing self, you want to be fit, healthy, eating well, sleeping well. You're not going to get that from being terrible to yourself, right? So the journeys could be, which I typically see, is the journey of the typical weight loss process, right? So, you know, all the old way, what I call the old way, the counting calories, the restricting, the depriving, the going without, the hunger, the starving. I think it's quite a negative experience from what I can see. There's a lot going on, and it's not a good feeling for most women. They're experiencing it in quite a negative way. That's why it can't work, right? That's why they don't stick to it. It's too hard. They're smashing their bodies. They're eating foods they don't like, or they're just not eating what they like. They're not even listening to their body, right? They're, you know, not eating when they're hungry. They're overeating when they're emotional, and their tummy's telling them that they're full, and they're still eating, right? So there's a lot of things that is going on here in the background. Now that journey isn't much fun, right? So you may lose some weight, but you most likely, in my experience, women put it back on. Because that isn't sustainable. That's like a terrible approach to it, right? Apart from being miserable and feeling confused and frustrated and, you know, just not looking after yourself. That's punishing you, not looking after yourself. It's not coming from love. It's coming from the fear of failing again, fear of falling off the wagon, fear of not being good enough, right? So it's a totally different approach, and I just think it's awful for women, and it's draining. They're exhausted already just from life, and then they're putting themselves through this. So it not only slows down their metabolism, these are all the things that I actually might as well go into it now. These are all the things that's wrong with the old approach, right? So going without food over the day, like a lot of women I know will be just through being busy or stressed or just not hungry even, because their hormones are all up there, you know, they're all unbalanced and they're not even talking to them anymore. The hormones there aren't working properly. Is they're going without food for long periods of time. They're not feeding themselves. They're not nurturing their energy, right? So they're drained. They're falling asleep early at night or not sleeping. They're like snacking, rifling through the cupboards, looking for stuff when they get home. If they're already at home, they're doing that during the day. They have routines that keep them up late, or they don't have any routines at all. They've got no structure actually in their day, is what I'm finding with women. They actually come to me to get some structure. And although I'm not the queen of habits, if you know me personally, I'm not the queen of habits or structure, but I can see what's going on for you and tell you, right, we need to change a few things here to get you some structure in your day that gives you some healthy habits. That's very important, right? Because otherwise you just roll through the same day every day, and there's no vision. There's no clarity. There's no vision or direction. So you do need the path. You do need the plan, right? You need to know how you're going to get where you want to go. And secondly, you need the vision. You need to know what you want, right? So unfortunately, a lot of us don't even know that. So we need to know what we want. We usually know what we don't want because it's not working for us. So that's something else as well to be clear on. So we get clear on those things. We get clear on the struggles. We get clear on what's not working, what's worked before, how you're feeling about all that. Like how's it making you feel? What you're doing, is that helping you or not helping you? So we're slowing down metabolism by not eating, right? You know, often clients will have a binge. They'll binge eat because they're emotionally charged, but then the next day they won't eat because they're so upset with themselves. That's not a cycle you want to keep repeating. That's heartbreaking, right? That's soul crushing. You don't want that. So this is the journey that women have experienced or are still, unfortunately, still experiencing, right? Or you've got the other journey, which is the one where you're listening to your instincts. You're following your instincts on what you want to eat. You're eating fresh and healthy food because you've planned it, right? We've actually put a plan in place and you know what you're going to eat. And you've made some preparation. You've gone shopping for the right foods. And you're aware. You're aware of these triggers, of these emotional triggers. You're not eating the whole packet anymore. You're not rifling through the cupboard because you fueled your day, so you're not Okay, there we go. Oh, that was only going to happen for a little while, wasn't it? There we go. Very professional. It's sitting on a windowsill. Oh, all my tricks of the trade are coming out. How funny. I'm not a fancy coach. I've always said that. I'm not a fancy coach. I'm just there to help you, right? That's all I want to do is help you. So hopefully that won't happen again. I won't drop you. What was I saying about that? So they're fueling their day, right? So they've eaten enough food over the day. They're not starving by the time they're home from work or, eating after dinner, because they've also planned what they're going to eat after dinner. It's not a surprise to them. They're not feeling, I know, hi Lisa. Lisa knows I'm not a fancy coach already. Oh, yeah, keeping it real. That's right, keeping it real. Oh my God. So they actually have a plan. They know how they're going to approach the predictable behaviors when they're stressed, predictable emotions when they're emotionally having a shit day, for instance, right? There's lots of things that's going on. These things are predictable, and you know what your habits are. You know what you're going to do because you've done it all, you're doing it all along. By nurturing our health and our energy and being aware of our energy, we can protect it, right? So we can protect it from the negative spiraling of negative thoughts. We can protect it from negative, situations that are, or people, or I mean, you can't stop these things, but you certainly can have some control over how you're thinking, how you're feeling, what you're doing about it, right? So you're not letting everything derail you. You're not just heading for the cupboard because you had a shit day. You're not hitting the wine or drinking a couple of glasses of wine just because you don't feel great. You're actually choosing other things, right? So I'm teaching you to choose other things. But if you're not aware of these things that's going on in the background, they're just those habits are just rolling out as your pattern, right? Because that's what you do. And what I've found is the journey of the old way, what I call the old way, that is what's happening. So there is patterns, there is old stories, there's beliefs, and women just keep going back to that because they don't know what else to do. They don't know how to go to that next level of mindset, or they don't know how to create those healthy habits to protect them from being drained and stressed, right? They're not getting the self-care that they want. They're not using self-care. They're not having enough sleep either, right? In most cases. So you've got that journey, or the journey versus let's do it the gradual way. Let's tackle the things that come up as they come up. Let's be positive and have positive actions and strategies in place, right? Let's know what's going to happen when I've had a shit day. Let's have a plan for that. When I'm fatigued and I've got no energy, let's have a plan for that. And I'm not talking about adding more stuff in, right? I'm talking about this is how I want to live. This is how I want to be. I don't want to be that. I don't want to be paying out on myself, weighing myself every day. I don't want to be starving myself, hating myself every time I get dressed, picking on myself. I don't want that anymore, right? So women, there is a journey, and there is a better journey, and there's a better way, and that better way is that holistic approach going, right, well, what is going on here, right? Having a coach, I've got to say, has changed my life. I've had coaches over the last probably 4 years for different things, and it's gold, right? Having another person's perspective, or someone looking from the outside to say, hey, maybe this is what's really going on here, or maybe we can tweak this, or maybe how else do you want to do this, or what do you think about this? It gives you a better way to think, like another way to think, right? So I'm a big believer in getting help, however you get help, right? Rather than just sitting there going, I feel shit, I'm fat, I'm hating myself, I have self-loathing, I'm, unlovable, I'm whatever you're telling yourself, because these are real. These struggles are real, right? They're not something I made up. These are what women are going through. So looking at, I suppose one of the other great things about a different type of journey is the one that's looking at the whole woman, like you're valuing yourself for all your gifts. You're not just looking at a number on the scale, right? Yeah, we all know technically that's not even a valued number. Like, it's just not enough. You know, it's not measuring the measuring. You know, I usually use get women to use clothes or measuring tape. We look at water. We look at visceral fat, which is the tummy fat. We look at muscle ratio to fat ratio. Like, the number on the scale, apart from the fact it technically isn't a great representation of your weight, it just shows, you know, your heaviness, if you like. It's not the way you value yourself, right? So if you're relying on a number, you're getting up every day, you're weighing yourself, and of course nothing's changed, because what changed overnight, right? If you had a sleep, what has changed overnight? What have you done differently overnight that's going to make that number be any different, right? So it doesn't even make logical sense to me. And I know that these things aren't logical, they're emotional, which is why I coach women through that path, right? It's not logical. It's not just about weight loss. It's about you treating yourself well. It's about what is really happening and going on, because that is the reason you're putting on the weight, right? The unbalanced hormones, the stress, the not sleeping, the slowing down of metabolism because you're not moving your body, you're not eating enough food, you're not eating the right foods. So I won't say right foods because I actually hate the judgment of right or wrong. You're not eating the foods that are good for you. How about that? It's not making you feel good. So you're unhappy, you're miserable, and that is not a healthy outcome, I suppose, in overall, right? So with the women that I talk to, the journey is, it doesn't matter if you had a cookie, it doesn't derail your bigger picture, right? If you had a bad day at work or whatever, what do you need? You need comfort? What else can we do? What is your strategy for comfort, right? You need comfort. You don't need to hit the cupboard, right? I don't have my glasses on. Oh, I'm glad you need to hear this right now. So what is it that you're needing? And give yourself that, because it isn't a packet of chips. And sure, have the friggin' chips. It doesn't matter. In the big scheme of things, because we've created your vision of what you want, whether you want it next week, whether you want it next month, whether you want it in 3 months' time, next year, 5 years, what do you want to show up like? What do you want to be like, right? So we've created that vision together. We know what you want. So all we have to do is tweak the actions to get you there, whether it be weekly, whether it be daily. You know, like I have a daily checklist. I bring women back to a day into what they're going to do in these key areas that are going to balance their health. And they're going to have that holistic view of their health. They're not just looking at a number on a scale. They're measuring lots of things. They're measuring their energy, they're measuring their sleep, they're measuring their vitality, they're measuring their happiness and their joy, they're measuring the activities that they're doing. What are they doing that's going to give back to them? They're measuring energy zappers, energy givers. They're measuring other things that are important to them. And that is probably the best part of that journey is the value. What do you value? Right? What is beautiful about you? What are your strengths? Let's work on those. Let's use those to get your journey into a better position, to move away from all the negative experiences of weight loss, right? Let's use your strengths, the things that have worked for you before, right? What's worked for you before? What do you love doing? What do you love eating? Let's go back to really connecting to you. Which I need help from you, Lisa, I think on this one, is connecting back in. What do you really need? And what do you want? Like, stop following diets, stop following what other people tell you. I think one of the other bigger problems that have come from this, I call it diet BS thinking. One of the big problems that's come from this is the fact that women aren't listening to themselves anymore. They're hungry and they're ignoring, they're trying not to eat. They're full, but they still can't stop eating. They've kind of mucked up, and it's all a hormone, really. They're hormones, so you can balance them. It's not the end of the world, right? They're balanceable. I don't even know if that's a word. I've just made it up. Balanceable. You can balance that stuff. It's the same with the happiness and the joy and the dopamine and they're all hormones. The cortisol and the adrenals that really, and the insulin, they're all your stress hormones that really, they give you energy. But when you are, up to here with cortisol, which is your stress hormone, when you are up to here with, the insulin dumping because you're running away. You're on the run, right? You're always on the run. When you are, what was the other hormone I mentioned? Cortisol and your adrenal glands, right? They're supposed to be helping you, but they're worn out, so they can't help. They can't do anything, right? So they're busting their ass to help you. They're also helping you balance your hormones with all your reproductive, your estrogen and all that kind of stuff, so that we have, we grow without the weight gain. So if you're carrying a lot of weight and you're under a lot of stress, it's usually estrogen that's the problem there, right? So there's always those imbalances that need to be worked on, and it all comes from calm. It all comes from connecting in back to you. It all comes from listening to yourself. No more following other stuff. And I always say a diet's been made up by someone. So are all the rules, right? Can't eat a banana because it's a carb. Stuff that. A banana's got potassium, zinc, magnesium. It's got all these things in it that you need. Good fats, right? People are avoiding fat. Now you've got good fats that you need for your cholesterol to balance out the shit in your body, right? The bad cholesterol. You need protein. You need to build muscle. You need to be strong so that your metabolism keeps going, right? There are things our body needs naturally. And if you keep stopping it, keep having all these rules around food, what you can and can't eat, apart from the fact it's just a big head fuck and it confuses the hell out of you, and it's so frustrating because you're still putting on weight, even though you're trying not to eat all these things. You're just adding more stuff, more rules, more pressure. So I'm so anti-rules. I want to stop that. I want to stop all the feeling shit about weight. I want to stop all the weight rules, right? Our body knows what to do when you allow it, but we are stopping it from doing that by doing the stress, by, eating the wrong foods, not getting enough sleep. Yeah, thanks, Lisa. I think I'll be contacting you soon, because I think that is the answer, and I know it's the answer, is connecting back into what you really want. And even with wellness coaching, that's all about, going back to being present and positive psychology and being positive about your outcome, right? And having the vision of what you want, and then having some tools around that. So I definitely add that into our coaching when I'm talking to clients, as well as, I'll call it woo-woo, but I just love the whole soul connection thing, right? I think it's a big deal when it comes to helping women reconnect and feel how they feel, right? So you're not stuffing yourself with more food. You're not numbing it with sugar or alcohol or whatever. You're actually allowing the process, and then you're finding comfort in things that make you happy, right? So there's a few key things that, that I wanted to talk about. And this is that different approach, right? Is listening to being nurturing, being kind. So most of the women that I talk to, by the time they've come to me, they're pretty unhappy with themselves, but they're also really hard on themselves. They're mean to themselves, right? So that's another really big change that you can make, that's really simple to make once you're aware. Once you're aware of those negative thoughts, those spiral patterns of down, just going down a rabbit hole of untrue crap, right? And unfortunately, that's a pattern. So on the bad days, you go back to that pattern. On the good days, you're great. Everything's great. Everything's rosy, right? It's on that, you want less of those bad days. You want less of that negativity and more positive stuff going on. And you need to you do need to reframe to a more positive approach, or a more positive actions every day, right? Daily is what we need, right? So it is a much kinder approach, a much more self-loving approach. So I do a lot of coaching around self-love, self-care, your self-talk. It's all about that, right? That changes everything. Not only, obviously having a vision and knowing what you want and having some positive steps to take is important, because you can't move forward without that. You can't move forward without the steps. You can't move forward without knowing what you want and your direction you're headed in, right? So we do need that. That's our core part of it. But then on top of that, then we look at what else do we need? Do we need to, boost the confidence and feel better. How do we feel better, right? So clients will say to me, I just want to feel better. And so we look at all the reasons they're not feeling good. What is going on? So it does take a little bit of work, but it's enjoyable because you are changing your world. You're changing everything, right? And it's not even that hard. It's being aware of the little things. So every day, everything you choose is the little things that matter, right? So if you're doing a lot of little crappy things to yourself, you're treating yourself badly, you're not valuing yourself, you're not honoring your own thoughts and your own wishes, right? So you're actually maybe people pleasing, maybe you're doing things to help other people and it's really not suiting you. Maybe you're putting yourself out there and you're getting trampled on. Like there's probably other things going on too. There's a lot of mindset work in my coaching. And I can, say that a lot of the breakthroughs are around mindset. So they're around people pleasing. They're around self-talk. They're around patterns that constantly come up that need changing or reframing, all right? So it's not hard, actually. It's actually the simple stuff I look at. And like I said, I'm very intuitive. I can tell you what's happening from listening to you. But I do use positive psychology, I don't like the word framework. I do like steps. I do like a plan. I do like strategy to help you formulate a repeatable process, right? And that's the other thing with having a holistic view of weight loss or a holistic view of health journey. It is a repeatable process or a system that you can always go back to. So my clients, when they've spent time with me learning, they've got that forever. They can go back to those strategies that they created for joy, for activities that they love doing. They can connect back in and ask themselves what they want at that moment. What do they need right now, rather than polish off the ice cream, whatever. But I think more importantly, the biggest breakthroughs are going from, well, what does it matter? Why do I care? No one cares anyway. I'm not lovable. Like I'm always going to be like this. I can't do it. It's never worked before. It's, what's going to be different now? I don't know what to do anymore. That kind of hopelessness, that's where I see the biggest change, I think, is the fact that they go from feeling hopelessness and out of control and not looking after themselves because they don't feel like maybe they're worth it. And look, I've been in situations myself where I pretty much let people not treat me very well because I probably thought, not that I deserved it maybe, or maybe I did, but I didn't value myself enough to say I don't deserve that. And even to get out of those situations, I probably thought, well, it's self-inflicted. So, I just have to suck it up. It's my fault. So there's a lot of things that happen. There's a lot of guilt. There's a lot of shame. There's a lot of bad decisions that go on over lifetimes, right? And you don't get to this age without realizing that, you have learned a lot and it's okay, right? That's part of the process. But if we can fine tune the way that you think about yourself, the way you're eating, the way you're looking at just your own perspective, your own thoughts of you is really, really important, right? Because that is what drives the value of you. If you think you are not valuable, if you think you're not important enough, if you're putting yourself last all the time, if you are, people pleasing, you're looking after everybody else, and you have nothing left, right? You have no energy left. What do you do? How do you get out of that cycle, right? So sometimes it is helpful to have that coaching to help with some steps, some strategies, right? And that's one of the things that I've been doing a bit of now because I've got a couple more weeks left, right? So I came up with a way that I could help people instantly. They can work with me for longer, but I've come up with some strategy sessions which ladies are taking up, and we're actually making a lot of headway in that session, right? So there's the 90-minute session. There's also a 3-hour intensive, which is made up of the 2 90-minute sessions, so that we can follow up. That also gives you 2 weeks of messenger support in that, right? So that means we can set the plan, set the strategy, implement it, check on it, tweak it, and off you go again, right? So I just love that whole process. So it's not 3 hours straight, but working together, I think has yielded the best results for the clients that have taken the strategy sessions, right? I do that in a group session. Like we do have groups that do that. They're a 30-day intensive, and and you do get the one-on-one contact, but not like sitting down and going together one-on-one. What is your problem? What are you struggling with? What are your top struggles? What can we work with? And what can we make a difference today? What can we make a difference right now to your life? How can we make you feel better, right? So that's what I wanted to talk about. So it is a soul-led approach to weight loss. You can put those bloody scales away because they don't tell you anything you don't know, right? They don't tell you anything you don't know already. It's like as a PT, right? When I worked in PT, and they still do it, which really makes me angry, but they measure with the calipers, right? It's like, it's not going to tell you something you don't know. Yes, you need to measure progress, right? But there's a whole gamut of things we can do to measure progress. It's not based on your fat, right? And it's like when you go to the doctors. I remember my doctor telling me when I was pregnant, right? There's no point weighing you when you're already, you're already carrying an extra human in you. You're already like 3 sizes bigger than you normally are. It's not going to tell you anything you don't already know, right? So you don't need to be weighed and measured when you're pregnant, or if you just had a baby, you know what I mean? So I like that approach that, let's look at some other better ways to measure what's really going on. Are you sleeping better? Are you waking up fresh? Are you hating the day? Every day you wake up, you're in dread, right? Are you going to sleep crying at night? Are you self-loathing yourself and you're not even going out? You're not even leaving the house. You don't want to be seen in daylight. You won't go for a walk in daylight. Can you do your shoelaces up? There is some big things. Are you hiding from your partner? Are you pretending you're asleep all the time? And I'm not even joking about that, right? Because, we all do that, don't we? Don't we all do that? What is happening that really is affecting your world? It's affecting how you live. That's what I want. That's the real stuff. And that's the stuff we're after, right? The weight loss is a bonus once you fix that shit up. Right? So all the stuff that's going on underneath, that is the real issue. That's what you need to tackle, right? Whether it be, you're avoiding medication, the doctor's told you to lose weight. You're trying to avoid medication. You're trying to avoid, I can't see without my glasses. I personally don't own scales. I feel weight is my only gravitational pull to the earth. Yes, it's grounding you, right? So let's look at ways to ground you that doesn't involve measuring a number on the scale, right? You're so valuable. You have so many gifts, but you're living in a way that is undervaluing you. So can we stop that? Can we stop undervaluing yourself? That's what I want, right? So if you want to talk to me about anything, message me, right? I'm open for that. If you want to work with me, jump on one of the strategy sessions for 90 minutes. I can do 60 if you've got a budget issue, but 60 minutes, or do the 3 hour. Work with me for 30 days. I don't really mind. Like next week, I will tell you before we finish, next week I'm running a 5-day free challenge, right? So I'll be showing up, hopefully on time. I don't even know what time that'll be yet. On time. Here in this group, and it is about finding your feel-good weight, because I realized, like I've had clients that have said to me, I want to be a size 12, right? So they're hung up on the number, and I asked them if they felt amazing, if they felt really happy in their own skin, comfortable, capable, strong, confident, felt really good, they loved the way they looked in their clothes, they were toned, they were a bit leaner maybe, but not necessarily, that's not necessarily the goal. Would it matter what the number was? What would you feel good? What number feels good for you, right? It's a really strange question. And that made her open her eyes to think, well, it actually doesn't matter about the number. If I felt all those things and I loved my own skin, loved myself in my own skin, I looked okay in the mirror. My clothes were fitting properly. I had energy. I wasn't crying, myself to sleep at night. Wasn't hiding away from family photos. Do you know what? There's so many. I can just, these are all the things that change for women, right? When they actually are brave enough to let's tackle it. And I tackle it in a nice way. We're not hitting you over the head. We're not making you cry. We're not doing any of that stuff, right? I'm probably the kindest coach out there when it comes to this. So that's why I want to talk about this approach. And I think this is the way I'm going to head from now on, because I love it so much, right? It's the only way it works. You don't have to give up. You don't have to fail. You don't have to fall off wagons. You don't have to make it too hard for yourself that you just change nothing. So let's just start with changing a couple of things that are easy. Show you that it's easy, right? That approach is far better. It's sustainable. It fits your world. It's for you. You created it with me. You have been kind to yourself. It's practical. It fits your life. That's what you want, right? So that's what I want to help you with if you're ready to do that. If not, like I said, the thing about being ready is it takes time. I've got people in here that have worked with me, after years of following. Years. They haven't been ready for years, right? And now they're ready. So, it just takes time, but don't waste too much time, because time's precious and you're precious, and fuck it, right? Why are we waiting this long? Why are we putting up with shit that we don't want anymore? And I suppose the other thing that I really don't want you to do is to do all the crappy things just to lose weight. You'll lose weight if that's your goal, but you'll get much more than that. So let's aim more than just weight, more than just losing weight, and certainly doing nothing that feels bad just to lose the weight. Like, who wants to do that, right? Nobody wants to do that. So don't do it, right? Let's find a better way for you. So yes, in this group, free 5-day challenge. I'm going to be talking every day. We're going live on a different topic, and we're going to find your feel-good weight. What would it mean to you to feel good? Sure, you'll lose the weight, but it's about feeling good, isn't it? Isn't that the whole point? So that's what I want to talk to you about next week. Join in for that if you want. Like I said, message me. I do have some, I do have the Black Friday sale today, which is 50% off the 90-minute session, right? So instead of 197 for the 90 minutes, it's actually 97 for 90 minutes. So that is a bloody bargain, and I'm throwing it all in there. You'll get everything in that 97 minute, or you can take the 3-hour one, which again is 50% off. So instead of, I don't know, I'll have to even look what that is. So instead of, I think it was $497 for the 3-hour intensive, which is 2 90-minute sessions plus 14 days of support to implement and change what you don't want. That'll be half price. So that's like bloody, what did I say? That's I don't even know what I just said. Did I say $497? So half of that, $250, right? For 3-hour intensive coaching and split over 2 sessions. So you get 2 sessions for the price of one. Plus the support in Messenger, which means that I'm coaching you privately, right? So it's private coaching. So let me know what you think about any of that. There's lots of help here. If you're not sure what you need, jump on a call, right? I'm always available for a clarity call, 20-minute clarity call. Let's chat about what you want, what you don't want, or message me. We'll talk on Messenger. So much help. Please don't just put up with shit if you don't want to, right? If you are really ready to make some changes, it doesn't matter what it is. The point is you're ready and you're not going down that horrible path anymore. You're taking the holistic, beautiful version of the journey, right? The one that makes you feel amazing and feel good. That's the journey you want, right? All right, I hope that was helpful. Sorry I dropped the phone. Sorry I was late. I'm always saying sorry, right? So I need to take some of that medicine myself and stop saying sorry. So I hope that you like that. Let me know if you've got any questions. Pop them on this feed and I'll answer them. Anything you want to know, any questions you have, pop them on this feed. It'll be replayed, like recorded, and it'll be shared into the groups. So if you missed it and you're watching the replay, you can still send me messages, right? So let me know. And I will Hi, Sylvia. I will talk to you soon if you need any help. Yeah, and don't forget the specials are on today. They're posted into the group as well. So if you want one of those strategy sessions one-on-one, the private coaching, message me about that. Okay, see you guys. Bye. Hope you're having a beautiful day. Bye-bye.